Hey guys, Palsteron here, and today let's talk about a skill that I think went a little bit under the radar after the patch notes. That is Whirling Assault. Now, the fact that it didn't get much attention is for good reasons. If you've ever tested out this skill, as of currently in the game, it's absolutely atrocious. It is slow, clunky, and honestly, you can't really even turn while you're using it. But out of all the skills, I would argue this skill got changed the most and also buffed the most. In fact, when playing this skill, everything I thought was wrong with it got addressed by something in the patch notes. And we're not just talking damage buffs, there's also a ton of quality of life. The AoE, as you can see in the background, got more than doubled, which means the skill basically exists now. It is a quarterstaff skill, so that's the first thing. It has 163% damage effectiveness, ramping up to level 20, obviously more afterwards. It has a 1.4 seconds total attack time, which this patch gets changed to only 1.0. It hits 6 times. I've tried this a few times, and I could never get more hits. Attack speed does not interfere with the amount of hits it actually does. If you don't know how this looks, in the intro you saw that big AoE. This is what it is right now. So the more AoE the skill gets, the more it's also going to connect. And when I say 6 times, by the way, I don't just mean you're gonna hit like 6 enemies. I mean you're gonna do 6 of these slashes, right? So 6 times during the duration, you're gonna hit everything around you. Now, how long does it actually take to do this whirling attack? And we kind of have to look into the buffs a little bit more to, yeah, guesstimate that. So as for the buffs, let's start. Whirling Assault. Baseline. Now has 1 second total attack time, previously 1.4. So what we can glean from that is with a quarterstaff, the quality of this skill has 15% more attack speed, which only counts for the normal part. So you can think about it like this. The quarterstaff has a normal attack time, which is round about 0.6 with everything accounted for. That is just a quarterstaff. If you look at this quarterstaff, it has 1.47 attack speed, for example. That's round about what it is, with a little bit of increases and a little bit of more attack speed. But then there is this 1 second attack time, which cannot be changed, which means attack speed on this skill will just not be very good. So what we can glean from that is over a period of 1.6 seconds roundabout, we're gonna hit 6 times, which is actually gonna collect a lot more because you saw the buffed AoE in the intro. Also, this skill does not have any weird conversions like 60% converted to I don't know what, why. Which means that you can actually leech. People don't remember this, but physical damage just has leech on gear. You can just stop searching for it. You don't have to go for a support. You don't have to do anything, especially after the nerf of Walker of the Wilds. But even with this, you still had issues with life leech on certain elemental-based builds. So being full physical in the current year might actually be a huge upside, especially with the recently buffed Couture of Crimson. You just straight up have leech because the chest itself doesn't give it to you. It just gives you the overleech. But let's go into the rest of the buffs. We have the plus 14 melee strike range at all gem levels, and it has 1% more AoE per gem level. Now, I'm not really sure what strike range it takes before, but from what it looks like from the video, it seems like it's roundabout more than double area. I mean, obviously, the way this game calculates it is not area, it's not radius, it's area. So yeah, it is definitely more than double. But yeah, the new area will look quite competitive. Do note that in this video, he has a Pillar of the Cage God, apparently. At least that's the gear set he showed before, which might mean he has some weird, I don't know, in setup maybe, where he has 40% AoE. Do note though that the monk area will get 3 AoE clusters, 1 right here, 1 I think here, and 1 somewhere here. So I don't think this AoE is unrealistic, and there's even a good chance that you're going to be able to get more. Weapon swaps are a thing, so you will be able to just put 20 points into AoE on your 1 weapon set, and then whatever your single target is will be the other. Now, this extra speed buff also increases your damage by approximately 25% more, depending on how fast your quarterstaff is or not, but round about 25% more damage, which was also needed. And then we have the quality of life changes, and I'm just gonna quickly show you how this skill works. So if I start hitting, right, I go into one direction, but I can steer, but only if I keep holding down the mouse button here, right? Like it just keeps going, I have to keep holding it down. If I stop, which I do, for example, right now, I cannot move at all. And this was addressed in the patch notes. Added a new cursor tracking input, which allows skills to continue updating their target direction. So what that means is no matter what, you're gonna be able to follow along the cursor with this skill now. There is another thing where they say it is now more fluid. What I think this means, and what it probably means, is that you can turn a little bit more and way more responsive. Right now it feels more like sprint turning. After the patch, I think it will be a lot more snappy. And the footage kind of backs that up. If you look right here, you will see that he's very easily able to steer wherever he wants to go through the trees and whatnot. This would currently be an absolute no-go. So I think you will, if anything, if not perfectly like super fluid, you will be able to turn very conveniently. Now, if you've never played a monk before, you might be wondering what these projectiles are that he's firing out all the time, right? So right here, he's going to do Staggering Palm. That's what the skill is called. And now you're going to see projectiles flying out into all directions, which is really what you're going to be doing on this skill and how the clear is going to go. And this skill, if you've never tried it, is ridiculous. So what Staggering Palm does is, first, you have to activate it. It's like a buff, right? If you stun something, you get a buff. And it is actually quite easy. Against bosses, it's a little bit more finicky. But for clear, you're basically always stunning if you want to. And it has a projectile attached here, which goes up to 200% now after the patch. It just got buffed. And the thing about Staggering Palm is not only the damage buff, but there was also some huge QL changes. Now, I want to kind of explain how this works with the Whirling Assault. So I did say that Whirling Assault has 6 hits. And when it comes to fast-hitting skills, that is exactly what Staggering Palm wants, because no matter how small the hit, every single hit will proc a Staggering Palm. For example, I will quickly run up to this guy right here to show you. Now I have this buff, and now you can see that for every single hit, I am getting Staggering Palms. Now, I will say that it is not perfect for some reason. Even if you sometimes hit 6 times, the Staggering Palm will only hit 4 to 5 times. Not 100% sure what's going on there, but it is nonetheless a lot of damage. Now, the skill did lose Nova projectiles. You could support it with Nova projectiles, and then projectiles would just fly all around the screen. But I've already tested it a little bit on my old build because I've played Staggering Palm before, and with Chain, it's still an absolute clear-based machine. So what happened to Staggering Palm this patch? It got more damage. This is the around about 33% more damage. Buff duration will now only start decreasing after the first projectile has been generated. So if you dash to something, you get the buff, the target dies, and you have to wait until the next pack, you get a little bit of extra there. It's not a big deal, but it's nice. What this basically means is a absolutely huge buff. First up, not only will it dash to one enemy, it will dash to multiple enemies, so it gives you multiple opportunities to stun and increase the duration buff. Because if you don't know, it's not like this is just up for 7 seconds. You can stack this duration up to 30, so this will never feel like a 2-button build. But I got another change, which is the biggest one. Now, this goes for all palm skills, by the way. Staggering Palm now grants its buff if a primed enemy is stunned or killed while you're dashing to them. And oh boy, if you've never played the skill before, what ends up happening is during mapping, you start getting your projectiles, right? And one projectile always follows your cursor. Now, let's say there is an enemy over here and you want to increase your duration, right? So you want to stun this guy. But what ended up happening is you're dashing over there, but your projectile is faster than you. It kills the target and you don't get the buff. That is not the case anymore. And that was probably the most annoying thing ever about Staggering Palm, and it is now fixed. And if you're a monk fan in general and you haven't seen this, this is not just a Staggering Palm change. It also got changed on other palm skills. And there's also, yeah, exactly here. Palm skills movement has been adjusted to reduce cases, which, yeah. Basically, that annoying case is not going to be there anymore. There's also a support that got changed, which I cannot test right now because it straight up does not work, but Impact Shockwave did not work. It was basically just a melee splash, and it should be this explosion. So if we look right here, Impact Shockwave, it is a support that gives you a explosion on heavy stun, 1.5 meters, which is very much what you're going to be doing in this build. You're either going to be Titan or you're going to be playing the new gloves. Well, not technically new, but this will get buffed to 20% more damage. So with these gloves and Staggering Palm and Shockwave Impact, you're going to be heavy stunning, which is part of Immobilize, over and over and over, and technically you're going to have this explosion. I don't know if it's actually worth a support, but what we've seen from some of the other supports that have explosions built in, it's going to be an absolute clear speed monster. At the end here, just some super quickie math. If you hit 4 times a second, which is roundabout where you're going to be, you're roundabout going to get to 1.5 second in endgame, approximately. You're going to get 652% damage just from your Whirling Assault, which is the one that has less damage, and then Staggering Palm will hit 4 times. Now, As we talked about, it might only hit 3 times and then it's 600, but still, this damage is nothing to scoff at, and we're not even talking about putting down a Bell, which Tempest Bell has great synergy with this build because of how often it will get hit by the small ticks and the small cleaves. So in general, what do I think about this skill? I think this is one of the most buffed skills and archetypes, which is kind of like this wind archetype in the patch notes. Knowing whether this is actually going to translate into a functioning build is hard to say. I think it will at least be a decent build. I don't know if it will be like a meta contender, but if you want to spin and win, you're probably going to do fine. Although a lot of the buffs are quality of life, and we cannot test that before we get our hands on it. If I would play this, I would probably play it on a Titan and just go ham with the crushing impacts and have super easy stuns, get all the melee stuff. You don't really need anything power charge related, so being on the right side of the tree with the quarterstaff nodes is not that big of a deal. But with that said, I just wanted to highlight it because I feel like it at least deserved a little bit of attention, and I'm really looking forward to them giving other skills a little bit more quality of life. There's a lot of skills in this game that I would like to see the light of day, but damage numbers are one thing, but if the skill doesn't feel good, then what are we doing? But yeah, hope you enjoyed the video. I'm currently still thinking about what to play. I'm kind of stalling for patch notes and seeing what's going to happen. I really want to see the Druid Ascendancies before I make my decision. But yeah, there will be more videos. And with that being said, since I still don't have a slogan, see you next time.